Starting shortly here. There we go. And we know that we're doing office hours just to make sure that we're sharing information across the region. We know that there are a lot of great resources out there, and we have a lot of great knowledge, as we've seen over the past several months, of people's knowledge bases to be sharing out with each other. So we wanted to make sure that we were harnessing that and sharing it out with each other. I moved this to the beginning of the presentation. Usually I talk about it at the end, but I want to make sure that everyone hears things that we've got upcoming. Next week is just another open office hours. And then we have a little break for vacation. And then starting in January, we've got a wide range of things there. Jody Stacken, who just joined us, is going to be doing Switch and Tobii Dynavox use in distance learning for a student who's an emergent communicator. And then Sherry Walker will be talking about Book Creator. That's something from CAST, the people who do the UDL stuff, Universal Design for Learning. So a really cool tool that she's using for reading and writing. Then Laura Berman is going to share the Soul Star Online Curriculum System on January 20th. She's going to be sharing that piece. She's using that with some of her DCD students. And then January 27th, Stephanie Jasperson-Agonis is going to talk about epic reading and then Explode the Code, the reading and writing curriculum. So we've got some great resources coming up in January, so make sure you keep an eye out for the registration pieces for those. All right, today, as with all days when we come to these meetings, keep in mind the SET framework, and that's just looking at the student, the environments that they're doing the tasks in, and then we think about the tools that we can use to support that student. Of course, we're always thinking about equity to make sure that every student gets exactly what it is that they need. So today is a little different format than we usually have. Usually we've got a guest here, they present their content, we've got questions and answers, but today it's all about you. So some possible topics that came up from the registration form included things like Jamboard. Reading to pets came up. Someone had a question about that. Seesaw for setting 3 and some other Seesaw questions. And then another question about low tech for students with physical impairment, distance learning activities for emergent communicators. And then on the other side there, I've got things that people were willing to share. So Jamboard and slides for assessment. Krista, I know that was you that had put that one in there. Boom cards and a CAP schedule. Those were things that people who will be attending next week had offered to share, but maybe someone today knows some of those things too. But so in terms of format, we'll keep it pretty informal today. Just know that at any point you can say, hey, Julie, can you give me a breakout room if you want to have a separate conversation about something or further continue a conversation? You can sort of invite yourself into a breakout room and I can create that for you. So if you want to have a kind of side conversation with someone, just know that that is definitely an option. Otherwise, since we are a pretty small group, we can start out for sure just in this same room, and I will just open the floor for people to start with things that they have questions about or things that they want to learn about. So feel free to bring up whatever it is that you came hoping to learn a little bit more about, and then hopefully there will be someone here who will be able to give a little bit more content about that. And I'm going to stop sharing the slides so that we can see each other a little bit better on the screen. All right, so who would like to open it in terms of topics to talk about here for open office hours? Don't be shy. You can either type in the chat window or you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Again, I know some of the people here had questions or typed in questions about things like Jamboard or Seesaw. So if those are things, you've probably got people here who can answer those questions for you.
Just a quick question. So for Jamboard, that wasn't my question in the survey, but can you use Jamboard in iGaze Dynavox? I was going to reach out to Danelle and see, but
it's better than Jamboard.
I'm sorry. If you can use the iGaze in Jamboard. or Jamboard in the iGaze? Is that supported?
I just have a question. What is Jamboard? I might be the only one that doesn't know that, but I don't know that.
No, that's a good question, Anne. And it's an interactive whiteboard that's part of G Suite, part of the Google system. So it's essentially like a smartboard, but digital and online. So I linked in the slides too. Sherry Walker talked about that in May and October, and she gives really nice overview of what it is and some different ways that she's using it. But it's essentially an online interactive whiteboard that you can share with students and be doing simultaneous work on also. Jody, I don't know enough specifically about the Dynavox interface and software to know whether Jamboard can be integrated within that. Does anyone else know that?
He's able to use his Google Slides on that. So I'm wondering, because it's in the same platform that he can use the Jamboard. I just didn't want to create something and then not be able to use it. Not that I don't want to create something, but I mean, it's just the time.
I totally hear you. It sounds like if you've got slides integrated into there, it seems like Jamboard would too. So usually if one Suite thing will work, most others will. But I would make it super simple and see if it'll work. Do people have other questions about Jamboard? I know Krista's a good Jamboard user. She'd probably be able to answer a lot of questions on here too.
I can show you what it looks like too, if that helps. I have it pulled up here.
Is it something you pay for, or can you just access it online?
It's part of the Google Suite. So I can show you, let's see, how do I do my screen? Sorry about my dog.
So while oh, sorry, at the bottom, Krista, it should say present.
Oh, there it is. I had the chat open, so I couldn't see it.
So Anne, just in terms of like accounts, it's just tied to your Google account, your Gmail account. So it's the same thing. Gmail, calendar, all of Google Slides, all those things are part of that Google Suite, and Jamboard is just another one of those pieces.
Okay. So yeah, to get to Jamboard, you just go over to your little waffle thing over here, your Google Apps, and Jamboard is down in here. So you just click on it and that opens it up. I will show you. So this is one that one of our school social workers created to do assessment with, and this is a sequencing activity we normally do with cards that we're holding and the student manipulates. But they put the pictures on here and they're able to move, the student is able to move them around, so you can share and collaborate on here. This is another one that I did with my UMD students. We did a KWL for our assessment class, and kind of what they knew, what they wanted to know, and then the L they all filled in with their sticky notes, which is one of the tools on the side here. You can add information. So you can add draw. You can draw with a pen, add sticky notes, add pictures, add shapes, add text boxes, and there's like a laser thingy too. So and there you can do multiple pages. It's pretty cool system.
Thanks, Krista. And I know Sarah Sandberg is here too. Sarah, I know the speech group, is she still here? The speech group is using Jamboard a lot in the Duluth Public Schools. Sarah, if you're willing, I'd love to hear a little bit about how you're using that or what that looks like for you.
Yes, I have piano happening in the background, so I was muted. But if you can deal with the piano. Yeah, the team, the speech team, we created quite a few Jamboards to target specific sounds for students and also as like reinforcers. So I created a Connect 4 game, and then after every so many turns, the kid can tell me where he wants the piece to go. So it's used as a reinforcer and also to target certain sounds or describe. But one question I had about Jamboard is how I share that with a student so that they can manipulate it at the same time. I've been just kind of in the control seat with it, but I understand that I can share that out. So if anybody knows the answer to that, I know how to share it with staff members in the district so they can open it, but not necessarily with students.
As long as the student is in your Google Meet, you share with them at the bottom in the 3 little dots, and then you scroll all the way up to the top to whiteboard, and then you need to give them edit rights so that they can interact with you.
Awesome. I see that. Okay, perfect.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Sarah, and Jody for answering the question, and for the musical accompaniment. We appreciated that too. That was great. Anything else about Jamboard? It seems like it's a tool that a lot of people are using and is really powerful.
So is that something that you could insert into Seesaw for an activity, or is that separate that you do interactively with them right at the moment?
When I first started looking at Jamboards, that was kind of why I wanted to look at it. I have decided that that's, for me right now, it's a different thing because if you give a student access rights to edit it, then they could potentially, all your students could be on the same Jamboard at the same time. So you'd have to make an individual link for each student. But we do a lot of one-on-one Google Meets with students for teletherapy for speech. So that's why it's nice to have a Jamboard, and then I just go back and undo all the changes we made at the end.
And I just put a link in the chat to a YouTube video for how to link Jamboard into your Seesaw if that is something that you want to do.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I'll pop that in the slides when we're done too, so that everyone has it. All right. Anything else about Jamboard? Okay, or any other topics? Any topics that anyone would like to talk about? Things you have questions about? I know that some people are here with some things to share too, so now would be a great time if you've got something that you would love to share. You can share your screen and screen share with us, or just talk about something. The floor is wide open.
I do have one more thing, Julie, that I can share. I had several parents using the Seesaw platform that were kind of frustrated that their students were spending like 90% of their time creating text boxes to go in all of their different worksheets. And so I just made a quick little video that showed them how to create one text box that fits kind of the standard size line, and then duplicate that really quickly for a worksheet. So I could share that video and where you can find it too. So it's on, let me see, I will share. You can see. It is on my website, which if you just Google search DEX ASD, it should pop up for you. And it's on my distance learning and ASD page. And down a little ways, it's this one here, duplicating text boxes in Seesaw. And it's also on YouTube, but I don't have a lot of luck searching for my YouTube videos. But I can just show it real quick. Can you see the YouTube?
Yep, we can see it. Looks great. I'm not getting any sound on it though, Chris.
Okay, let's see. Is there a box I need to check in Meet to do?
No, it should.
It could be my terrible internet.
Do you want to paste that link in the chat
Yes.
window and I could try and play it?
I sure can.
Great.
Too many tabs.
That's the story of my life. People make fun of my computer when they see the whole thing. It's like, whoa, how are there 74 tabs open?
Yeah.
All right, give me a minute and I'll pop that up.
Yeah, I just saw a meme about if you want to know what it's like inside a teacher's brain, it's like a computer with 2,754 tabs open all at once. Sounded pretty accurate.
All right, I'm gonna share a tab with you here, hopefully. All right, and I'm gonna start playing here, but let me know if you can't hear it.
Okay, I'm going to show you a quick tip on how to create duplicate text boxes in Seesaw. I've heard parents concerned that their students are spending more time formatting and moving around text boxes than actually doing their assignments. So I wanted to show you this quick and easy way to duplicate them. First of all, you need to create a text box by clicking on the T in the corner.
Now I can't hear.
And I'm going to move this one actually down to the second line so I can make sure it's the
That's
right
good.
size for going in between all of the lines on this particular assignment. I'm going to drag from the corner and over on the side to make it just the right size. And then I need to get back the little round circle with the 3 dots that used to be down here. And I'll do that by clicking out and clicking back in. And now when I click on these 3 dots, I will get this menu that allows me to do several things. The top one's hard to see here, but you can change the font. You can change the background of your text box. I'll leave it like this so we can still see what I'm doing. And then you can also change the alignment. Now what I'm going to do is go down to duplicate, and this will make the exact same text box that I've already made. Now again, click those 3 dots and duplicate, and I can continue making the exact right size text box all the way down my document. Once these are all in place, and on the bottom, the 3 dots kind of go over to the side here. Once these are all in place, your student can go back and type in the actual content for their assignments. I hope this was helpful. Okay, I'm going to show you a quick tip on how to create.
All right, hopefully you could see that okay. Thanks for the feedback, and Shannon, I see your note in the chat window. Sorry, I was over in that other tab monitoring that one, so I didn't see that I needed to mute myself, so thanks for letting me know that. Leanne, that's a great video, Krista. Super good tip.
Thanks. I've been using Screencast-O-Matic to do little quick screencasts like that, and it's been really easy to use.
Anne, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going back to Jamboard, and I quickly jumped over to my email where all the the waffle thing comes up, and I don't have Jamboard on that. Do you have to do something special to get it to show up? I don't have that as an option to click on when I click on all the dots and I see like slides and all that stuff. It's not on
You might
there.
have to add the extension.
And usually
might have
you might have to add it, or if you just go to jamboard.google.com, it should come up too.
Oh, okay.
Instead of like mail.google.com, it's just jamboard.google.com.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when it first pops up, it looks like just a big blank page, which can be like, okay, what is this? But down in the right-hand corner, lower right-hand corner, is a little plus button. And if you click that, that's where you would make your first jam. And then once you have them, then they'll fill up that little wall there. But it just looks like a big blank page at first, so it's kind of confusing.
And Sarah just put in the chat window too, you might have to, if you're in that waffle, you might have to scroll down. She said her waffle has 3 pages now. And sometimes if you don't scroll down, you don't see all of them.
Is there easy organization in Jamboard? Or no? You can't make folders, can you?
I'd be curious if Sarah has an answer to that. Sarah, I know you guys as a speech group have been making, I keep calling on you. Sorry, I hope that's okay.
No, that's funny. I ran over to my Jamboards real quick and I was like, I don't know. A folder would be brilliant. And we don't have a folder yet, but I see you can like sort it by your label, so you can do it alphabetically. But I don't think you can make folders inside of Jamboard.
I'm gonna guess they'll be coming out with that feature. But yeah, I can't figure out how to do it either, so it must not be there yet. It does, I think. Do jams show up in your Google, in your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your Drive?
Drive?
I feel like they did.
Yes, I do.
So then you could put those and you could have them in a folder in your Google Drive. But you know, if you're
Yeah, but that's when you click on it though, you're still just your big old Jamboard. But I do like that idea. You can just go reading and title everything, whatever content it is, and then whatever after that.
Yeah, because I'm able to search my, like, the name of my jam in my Google Drive, and then that specific jam pops up and I can just click on it and I don't need to go to the main menu of Jamboard.
One more thing on the Jamboards, if you do make a great one and you want to share it with a colleague, I recommend making a copy first. So you have your own copy and then sharing it out so that if they want to edit it in any way, it doesn't change your original.
So this is probably a dumb question, but I just went to my personal Google account and it shows up under that one, but it doesn't show up under my school district Google account. Any idea why that would be?
It may be settings that your IT department has put on your account. So I guess my first thought would be to check with them.
Okay.
We had to have it enabled for our district.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That might be.
Because I was going to recommend it to our speech person after hearing from Sarah, and I thought, oh, well, she won't be able to access it either because it won't show up on her Hibbing account just like mine. Okay, thank you.
And that you'd need to let them know too that you want it to be something that students can access if you're going to be sharing that with students, because sometimes they'll make it, you know, available just to teachers.
Oh, okay. That's true. So they'd have to make it available all around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, when ours first made it available, it was not available to students. And so that was not nearly as effective. So definitely both sides are needed.
Has anyone had any issues with Chromebooks, or they seem to be working with it okay? Good.
The people that I know, the Chromebooks have been working well with it.
I know sometimes Chromebooks, for whatever reason, don't work for everything, but you'd think with Google they would work.
Yeah, and I know that there are some slightly different functionalities, like on the app on an iPad, and things function slightly differently. But yeah, I haven't heard any complaints about it on Chromebooks. All right, what other questions or things to share do people have? I can share out one document that I shared in my district. If you are in the Duluth Public Schools, you've probably seen it, but I'll share this out. It's just a Google Doc. And so some of it is kind of Duluth specific, some of the content on it, but it's text to speech. and speech to text options. So it's kind of geared toward the student. So it's like, what if you want text read aloud to you? If you're in Google Chrome, all of our students have Read and Write for Chrome installed, the free version, so just the text to speech piece. And then the Chromebook accessibility option of Select to Speak. So then I made this 2-minute video of both of those things and how our students can access them. Some of that is universal, but again, if your students don't have Read and Write for Chrome installed, that step would need to be included there. But just kind of very simple 2-minute video. Again, shared that out with staff and for them to share out with students and families too. And then about wanting to type with your voice. So it's if you're in Google Docs, you can do voice typing. And if you're on a Chromebook, you can do dictation with the accessibility setting on that piece. And then again, about 2-minute video on typing with your voice. So 2 minutes on text to speech and 2 minutes on speech to text. So, and then some little follow-up pieces there. Aaron O'Leary, who was part of our office hours and talked about some of those options. That's one video that he's got there. These 2 videos, I believe both of these are Greg Sumner videos, who we also had on office hours. So sharing his 30-second videos about how to do some of those things. So that's just a document that I made. So I can share that out in slides too, if people are interested with that, to see that.
Yeah, if you would share that, that'd be great.
You bet. I'll put a link in the chat window right now, and then I will put it in the slides too. All right. It is 12:28. Does anyone have any last minute pieces that they would like to share, or any pressing questions that they would like to ask?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm working with a district with a 7th grader with dyslexia, and we're trialing a C-Pen. And in any of your experiences, the C-Pen the best tool? Is there a better tool? Are they all equivalent?
Great question, Sue. For me, that totally depends on the task that you want the student to do. So is it that they're trying to read a large block of text, or is it that they're trying to read like one word at a time to kind of pick out those difficult words? Or
Probably larger blocks.
the C-Pen I find is not a great tool for that, because every time you lift it up, it reads. So you would kind of be read a line, have to wait to scan the next line, pick up, read the next line, you know, it kind of reads like that.
Okay.
You're going for blocks of text, some form of digital text typically is better than with a screen read, and then you pair it with a screen reader. So if it's a textbook or something like that, oftentimes I will suggest Bookshare for our middle and high school students especially. And then if it's something that a teacher's sharing out that isn't necessary, like if it's a website or something like that, then I would use kind of one of those 2 options that I just shared out, either for Chrome or the accessibility, either in a Chromebook or on a PC or Mac, having the computer read aloud to them. Yeah, it kind of depends on what the format of the digital text is, but I would suggest a screen reader for the digital text. With digital text, if you're doing a longer block.
Okay, I'll work with that teacher and
worksheets or like test directions, things like that. The C-Pen is great for. You know, we use them in our resource room for kids who normally would need an adult to come read the directions to them or to sit next to them while they take a test. They can do that way more independently with the C-Pen, but definitely if they're reading a book or textbook, you know, chapters in a textbook, digital would be better.
And yeah, and we've got kids who are using both, right? So it just, you know, the student stays the same, the environment's the same, but those tasks are a little bit different. So sometimes a different tool needed for each of those. But definitely reach out as you get working on that too, Sue, if you need some more suggestions. All right, I'm gonna wrap up the recording here. as we've got 12:30, but I would like to thank all of you definitely for